What's up, world? It's your man, the one and only Mr. Sand 44 Man. Hey, I got about 8 minutes before I'm about to go live on the air. Got some special guests in the house today. These gentlemen is going to be a part of the show. Sha-Teak Imani, aka Timothy Kincaid, and also Mr. Greg Kelly will be my special guest today. So y'all make sure y'all tune in the next few minutes. We're going to go live Facebook with your man, the one and only Mr. Sam 44 Man. You'll be tuned in to Detroit Raw live right here on ventradio.net. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be on the air in about 10 minutes.
Sha-Teak.
Brother Sha-Teak Imani. Brother Sha-Teak Imani. That's who it is, okay? That's who's coming on next with your man, the one and only Mr. Sam 44 Man. I'll see y'all in a few minutes.
Put your headphones on, guys. They right down the back of your chair, so it should be. Right here, it's like that there.
Oh, here, Glenn. Shit, I don't even know. Did I charge some of it? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Patty.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, what you talking about on the link that
All you gotta do, Notrice, is click on that link, and it's gonna ask you to accept being on Google Hangouts. You say yes.
It didn't come.
Well, then Patty done gave me the wrong fucking email address.
What you sent to my email?
Yeah.
I got you texting to me. Okay.
What's the damn email address?
I looked on my text. I put you text.
No, look in your email. Oh, last lady, you're trying to figure this shit out.
Who's that?
That's Patty.
Oh.
She my sister, but she thinks she is my mama.
Sha-Teak, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ain't the address Miss Patty Nick? Wait a minute, let me pull it up. Miss Nick Nack Patty Whack.
And this is the book that you're writing.
Yes, sir.
Miss
Triple
Nick
Stages
Nack
of
Patty Whack
Darkness.
2 at
Deaf, dumb, and
yahoo.com.
blind, still I rise.
Right.
Okay.
Is this your
Can I get to
address?
keep this?
Miss Nick Nack Patty Whack 2 at yahoo.com? That's where I sent it.
That was his copy, so make sure maybe you got your.
Yeah, he got a copy.
Okay.
He got a copy.
Huh?
What's up, Tank in the house?
Well then
I gotta get myself ready, man.
Okay.
Got 5 minutes,
I'm
y'all
gonna try
stand
it
by.
again.
Okay, what I got on the ticket today.
Make sure the email address is right.
Buffalo Wild Wings, $25 gift card. If I don't get nobody getting this going in my
I'm just trying
goddamn
to make
tank
sure she typed it right.
today.
Patrice. Is it
And I might not even get that
Miss
bitch out. I might
Nick
just give out the
Patty
Buffalo Wild
Whack,
Wings because I need some
number
gas
2
for real.
at yahoo.com.
And I gotta go out of town tomorrow, so it is what
All right,
it
I'm
is.
try it again.
But it's your man's, and I keep it 100.
NAC Patty P-A-T-T-Y Whack
Have you ever been down?
2
Me? No. I
at
escaped it a
Yahoo.
lot of times though.
It's
Never been
a
down, boy.
hard
I
motherfucking life,
escaped
let me
it.
tell you. I did 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So I can
Michigan?
understand. Yes, in Michigan.
What year? What year?
80s, 85 to 91.
Who's you at?
Shit, I was in Jackson. They took me to MTU. They took me to Scott's, which I ended up catching an inmate, so they took me to IMAX. Nigga, IMAX.
Wait a minute, I'm sending it again right now.
So,
Your time, yeah. I know what you're talking
yeah. Nah, the only place I didn't do time was as Huron Valley Men's. That's
Okay,
the
I
only
just
place
sent
did.
it.
Basically, shit, they sent me to the Huron Valley Men's. Yeah, shit. So I I got away from that one. I did, like I said, the MTU,
Okay.
Scots.
If
the,
if not,
hell, I
no
was
trees,
locked up with
just
White
go to
Boy Rick.
YouTube and search Vent
Down
Radio.
in Florida now, right?
Yeah, I was locked up with him when we was in Scots. White Boy Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
was locked
You
up
know
with
what I'm
him.
about to do too? I'm gonna put a link on my Facebook page
That ain't world.
so you can at
World?
least watch it if
World,
you
like a
can't
world.
get that.
World?
At least-
Yeah.
Inside?
Yeah.
What year?
I'm doing that
He was
now.
in the 70s. All
I mean,
over till.
what penitentiary?
Oh, he was in
Because
Jackson, everywhere. He was everywhere.
I might have heard of him,
He's everywhere.
but I didn't necessarily meet up with him.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I went to Jackson. From Jackson, they sent me to MTU. From MTU, they sent me to Scots. From Scots, I caught an assault on an inmate. That's what sent me to here, Ionia, Supermax. Yeah, they sent me to Supermax. I stayed in Supermax about 6 months. Yeah, and then came down on my classification because I just had an assault on the inmate. That's all it was, an assault on the inmate. I was in medium, but when I caught that assault on the inmate, that's what shot me up. Damn,
That's in Jackson.
it's a old ass Jackson. Well, what year was this?
In the 80s. Early 80s.
Yeah, it's got to be 70.
Yeah, 70s. Yeah, that was 70s.
I know Jackson was fucked up.
The first one is in the 70s, and that was little. That's the 80s. That was the 80s, something like that. Early 80s. Right?
Early 80s, because I was in there like the late 80s, like after 85, 86.
Right.
Yeah, that's when I came in.
I was a clerk then.
And now I'm making money, getting things done, and handling my business. I can't even buy a goddamn gun for these little fools that want to try to run up on me. Ain't that some shit?
That's something we get addressing, man. When I was meeting with some senators, right? Senator Peter out of Macomb, I met with before I got out. And I just met with the ACLU yesterday, talking about congratulating, thanking them for what they did for me, but also
What's that Mace record, man?
highlight issues of first
Bad Boys
degree life
or 4 a.m. Either one.
first degree life is second degree, and only returned who are now juveniles, or the ones who didn't receive the action I did. But I want to be able to talk about that because when we reacclimated back into society, going back into this urban psychosis, then we can't even, and you know the community that we're coming from, and we can't even if we're right, defend ourselves. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yes, it is.
So,
Because it's been 30 years and I ain't did shit. Ain't never had no felony or nothing. But I make damn near $200,000 a year. How do I protect myself and my family if somebody trying to come at me? No matter who it is.
That's right.
But I served my time, so I'm not out here trying to rob and steal like I did. So why don't I have the freedom to do the same as everybody else? You know? Everybody, when it's the white society, you go to jail, you get brownie points, and you come out even more famous because you went to prison. We come out of prison, and we the worst part of the motherfucking planet Earth.
how much we got before we go? How much time for
You sure that's the name 4
You
a.m.?
want to know, can you use the bathroom right quick before you go
Oh,
back?
you need it? Come on.
That's
I'll
what you
show
want
where
to
it is.
I know where it's at. I was just wondering.
Come out.
I know where it's at.
You want to know, do we have time to go use it right
Oh,
now?
yeah, go ahead.
That's what you want to know, yeah.
Yeah, go on out there and get your left.
Hey,
Which they
I'm not finding it under 4 a.m.
2 Chainz, 4 a.m.
But see, my thing is, I'll tell you just make you said, white people come out with this kind of stuff. I'm not gonna even go that way with it. What I'm gonna go with is like, sure. Like for an example, these people coming over here, immigrations and all those people coming on the street, just because they're from another country, if they couldn't get a gun or permit because they're from another country, it'd be a big uproar. You know, they fight that so bad, they say equal rights, right? So I hear what you're saying about this. I was like, I'm not gonna just go white or black. I'm just gonna go with just the issue of people coming over from another country.
No, I'm just saying being an ex-con and have served your time. You know what I'm saying? You're not given the ability to rectify yourself because, I mean, hell, I don't need to rob no more. I did that when I was a kid. But the thing I'm saying is now,
I'm with you on that part, yeah.
why can't I get something? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you had a felony, you had a gun involved. Well, come on, that don't mean nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I mean, I did stick a white man in the meat freezer with no clothes on, but shit, I didn't kill him.
Well, my thing is, what's the point of paying for what you did a certain time and then you come out and you still get punished for it? That's my whole
Years
point
later.
about it. Right. That's
Years
how I
later.
like it. Yeah,
Because I'm talking about the 30-year incident.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Like that.
And I'm still paying for that at 50 fucking 2 years old.
And you pay the time and everything. And you still paying for that. So when do it ever end?
It ain't going to end until we change legislation.
Right, that's what needs to be addressed.
I can't get people to change legislations because they always so damn scared.
Man, I got all their life. You can't hold stuff over people's heads for all their life. That should be unconstitutional right there. You shouldn't do that. Shouldn't be able to do that. That's what I look at it.
1 2 1 2.
Let me get my mic check. Mic check. 1 1 2 1 2. What's up, world? It's your man, the one and only Mrs. Sand, 44 man.
Let me hear you, Brian.
1 2 1 2.
Let me hear you.
1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
Too close.
No, you are.
Okay. I heard it.
No, that was in the track.
Okay.
Coming right up, y'all. This Detroit Raw Live with your man, Sam 44 Man on Vent Radio. That's that. With his special guest, Sha-Teak. You ready?
Hey,
Yep.
Hey, put the AK so others that know me then.
I'm gonna let you do it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I was born by the river. Mississippi River.
Stand by, everybody.
Okay.
You ready, Sam, man?
Yep.
1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
Let me hear you, Tim.
1 2 1 2.
Correct.
1 2 1 2.
Good.
Okay, world. Here we go.
I want to make sure I do this all right.
Oh, Shelly Garrett is in the house. How you doing, Mr. Garrett? Mr. Garrett is in the house tonight. I'm working on that thing for the suitcase, Mr. Garrett. I'm
Stand
almost
by.
there.
Stand by.
Here we go. What's up, world? It's your man, the one and only Mr. Sand 44 Man, seen in over 202 countries and provinces around the world, and also heard around the world on Vent Radio on DetroitRawLive.net. Hey, shouts out to everybody out there in the Philippines waking up this morning and listening to your man, Mr. Sand 44 Man, on your Friday morning to work, and also everybody out there in the UK, China, and also in Ireland, getting ready to get yourselves ready for bed. But just hold on for a little bit, one more hour, because your man, Mr. Sam 44 Man, is on the air. I got a special guest in the house today, Brother Sha-Teak A. Imani, and also Brother Greg Kelly is going to be in the house with us today. And these gentlemen will be sharing something with us. And for all you gentlemen that have been out there in the world, like me, my engineer, these brothers here, well, at least Three out of four brothers have been to the penitentiary, and we all are putting something together. And I want to put this brother out, but and give him an opportunity to state what he has in store for us today. But what I want to do first of all is we want to give a shouts out from the Detroit Raw Live family here to everybody down there in the state of Texas. We understand that everybody is going through a hardship right now with the immense flooding, and a lot of people are being displaced. A lot of people don't know where they're going to go. 80% of the people that are down there that had insurance are not covered for the flood insurance that they had. And that is not just like your little rain and your sewage is backing up in your basement. This is a natural disaster which has feet and feet of water, more than 7 in houses, and these people don't have insurance that's going to cover them. So we're talking about 80% of the people of the state of Texas. We're going to give you a moment, which we don't do in the radio industry, of giving silence. But today, I seen it go from 21 to 31 people, including that sister that lost her life trying to save her baby. We now give you a moment of silence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen around the world, for that moment of silence. For everybody down there, we hope that everybody can make it down there and make everything better. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but we hope that everything comes together in making things happen. Our special guest today is Brother Sha-Teak Imani, a.k.a. Timothy Kincaid. How you doing, brother?
All right, my brother.
Welcome to the Detroit Raw Show live
Pleasure, man.
right here on VentRadio.net. And also got Brother Greg Kelly in the house. How you doing, Brother Kelly?
I'm doing just fine.
Brother Kelly is in the house. And we got Glenn over here in the house clowning like he usually do.
That's my brother, man. He know I like that. Boy.
So welcome, brothers. I really enjoy the fact that, you know, I see here that we got the flyer here. Sha-Teak Imani, aka Brother Timothy Kincaid, first day out flyers, re-immaculation back to the free world.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Explain a little bit.
This flyer for the audience, first of all, I just was released from prison after spending 37 years on 3 first-degree life and a 60-90, and I was re-sentenced. The United States Supreme Court re-sentenced me under that Louisiana versus Montgomery, to which where I was sent back to court and re-sentenced and given a 30-60, thus allowing me to become eligible for parole. So the book is based on that, about my life story, deaf, dumb, and blind, triple stage of darkness, still I rise. And that's surrounding, when I say deaf, dumb, and blind, that's to when I was a youth. I went to prison, deaf, dumb, and blind, and throughout my tenure in prison, you know, prison is like black man's university.
Right.
So, you know.
Yes, it is.
So you can go there and, you know, it's up on us what we do. So opposed to, like you say, you went to IMAX, etc. So in my younger years, the things I went through, you know, I wasn't always conscious, but I chose to, you can either become prolific or, like I said, go crazy. So I chose to read and learn and taught myself.
Right.
As Malcolm X said, he was autodidact, which means self-taught. And that's what I become. So through, and I talk about it in the book, I said I went through a Joseph, Jesus, and Malcolm X metamorphosis, from deaf, dumb, and blind, lack of consciousness, to a state of consciousness. So based on that, I you know, went through that metamorphosis, and now here I survived, and with the grace of God, here I stand.
I'm looking at this manuscript that he gave me, Triple Stages of Darkness, Deaf, Dumb, and Blind, Still I Rise. And looking at the first where you're quoting from the Bible,
Right.
That the Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men and be crucified and on the third day rise.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give our audience that may not know the interpretation of this
Right.
what you were
Right,
saying.
right. Well, it's crucified, and what it is that in the Bible it talks about how Jesus was delivered into the hands of sinful men. So I use that to correlate in my life. You know, like I said, I learned that in the Bible and in the Quran and other religions, seeing ourselves in it, opposed to just something that happened thousands of years ago. So I'm equivalent of that, and I say young black men, and especially you, we are delivered into the hand of a sinful system, which is the prison system. Right. Which is the prison system. And Jesus, when he was delivered and he was crucified, but on the third day he rose. And then when they went to look for him, they said, "Why look for the dead? Why look for the living where the dead is at?" So that's indicative of my life. The triple stage of darkness, death, dumb, and blind, still I rise, I rose. So why look for me now in the dead where the dead are, now here I've rose. So I correlate my life with that. And I like to say this in the chapters of my book are based on like art imitating life. So I title some of my chapters like Bronx Tales. Are you familiar with the movie Bronx Tales?
Yeah, I like that
Okay,
movie.
you?
Absolutely.
Okay, what about Love with Common and the Little Boy?
Yeah.
So I use these stories because they're indicative of my life now. Bronx Tales was like a little boy sitting out watching the gangsters do certain things, and when the police, he saw the gangsters murder somebody, but when the police questioned, he didn't say a word.
Right.
So the gangsters, like I say, put him on his wing and they raised him. Now Love was a little child which Common had with him when he got out, which was his nephew, and he gave him a lesson one-on-one in criminology, which Common was just released out of prison. This was a little child. But he expected this man to be conscious, a little child to be conscious enough to know how to be on the scene and in any given minute to be able to use a gun and rise to the occasion, but this was a child. So I correlate that to explain to people like y'all who's familiar with these stories, the art imitating life, that was my life. This is what I started off as a child, and this is how, like I come about ending up in a place of spending 37 years in prison.
Now, you spent 37 years in prison. For what offense?
3 first-degree murders and attempt murder.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
And I can ask this question because I've been incarcerated.
Right.
I didn't do 30-some years, but I just did 5.
Right.
But any amount of time you do is a hell of an amount of
Yes,
time
sir.
to do.
Yes, sir.
You know how prison life is.
Yes, sir.
1 hour seems like a month,
Right.
and 1 day seems like a year.
Yes, sir.
And I want to ask you, what would you have to say to these young knuckleheads out here today?
Yes, sir.
That, I mean, I don't know, you just came out
Right.
fresh off
Yes,
the
sir.
rock.
Yes, sir.
What is your advice for these young men that's about to go
Yes, sir.
in there
Okay. Yes, sir.
and feel that rock for
Right.
30-some
Yes, sir.
years? What is your advice to them?
Okay, before I answer that, first of all, let me say, that time and I spent it, by no way am I glorifying that.
Mhm.
You know,
I know.
And, so what I would say is that what I have to offer to them is that use me as an example, meaning because, I believe everything happened according to divine order. And what I mean by that, with the grace and with the mercy of God, here I stand. What I mean by that is I could be in a graveyard. So street life, there's only, like I say, for what I've seen, there's 2 alternatives: death or the graveyard or prison.
Or prison, right.
So some people go there and receive a little amount of time, and then some, go there and better themselves a lot, go and do a life bid on installment plan by going back and forth.
Right.
So, but if you end up with life, I've seen a lot of guys lose their minds, get killed, or catch other cases. So I would say to the young men, because I was a young man when I went to prison, and like I said, about that lack of fathers, and my father was murdered when I was a child. So one of the things that I did is I gravitated to the streets, to older men looking for a role model. But they were, like I said, they didn't, couldn't lead themselves. So they misled me just like into the, bits of hell, just like
where they were.
So I say to the younger men who now, because when I went to prison, they called me young blood. When I left, they called me old school. So,
Ain't that something?
Yes, sir. So, young brothers glorify crime. They glorify and they think it's a badge of honor. It's nothing slick about that. So I say, let me say this too. Also, I lost my mother while I was incarcerated. I sent my mother through hell. I basically lost everything in life. So the trade-off when you out west, so I say to young brothers, school and education, knowledge is power. And stay in school, get a job, and listen to your parents because they got some sales waiting for you, and use me as example.
But you know what?
Yeah.
The thing is, right now,
Right.
them guys sound like that we old men.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Get a job? I ain't about to get no
Right,
job. But
right.
you about to open your door
Right.
to what you just said.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but you have to understand the flip side of that, Sandman. We were, I can't speak for you because we didn't grow up together. We all grew up together. We're brothers. And that's not to exclude you, don't get me wrong, because you're from the east side.
Right.
Not that that means anything
Either. Right.
I'm just trying to set the stage.
Right.
We were the same kids that said, for the exception of Greg, that said, man, we ain't get no damn job.
Right. Yes,
See,
sir.
we are those kids.
Right.
And the reason that we can speak to this problem as professionals is not because of our age. It's because of what we lived. See, that kid that'll say to you, hey, man, you on some old school shit.
Right. I get that often.
Well, that was me. That was him.
Right.
And it probably was you. Because if it wasn't you, chances are you wouldn't have ended up in the penitentiary. So you have to just understand that that was our time, and this is their time.
Right.
But the difference with us was that the old heads that we had to look up to didn't have wisdom and knowledge. We thought that they did, but they were just cunning enough to know that they could use us because we were young and we didn't know fear. And now that we're trying, Brother Sha-Teak, myself, yourself with this show, Greg, who is a member of Detroit 300, they don't want to hear that from us, not because they're stupid. It's because in their time, we are old school to them.
But see, you know what? The thing was, when I was growing up,
Right.
I used to listen to the old guys.
Right.
Because they had the wisdom and the knowledge.
But you were listening from a perspective like Brother Sha-Teak said. He was listening because his father wasn't there for him to listen to.
And that's what I gravitated to. So it's just like, so we don't speak their language. So like you said, they look at us as old has-beens. And so now the fathers are gone. So this is one of the reasons, like, I created a nonprofit organization titled Prisoners Doing the Right Thing. And that's to reach out.
What is the title again?
Prisoners Doing the Right Thing. And it's
Prisoners.
Yes, sir.
Doing the Right
Prisoners Doing the Right Thing. And it's to reach out to youth. And like I said, meaning I titled it Prisoners Doing the Right Thing because you could be free and still be a prisoner of your mind, prisoner of your condition, prisoner of urban psychosis. So to go back to why young men don't listen, because they look at us and that rites of passage that exists in Africa is not there. So when that crack era hit, they seen all older brothers, their fathers were strung out. So they seen them as like has-beens or nothing. So they didn't respect that. So when one of the things when me and Glenn was young and Greg, like Greg with the exception, he did certain things, but he was smart enough to get out. So we were turned off to school and turned on to the streets. The same thing with them. One of the things I talk about now is what I tell them, and now that I'm coming out, one of my things is to networking with the block clubs, city councils, legislators, state representatives, senators. Like before I left, I was a part of the National Lifers Organization. And we had a meeting with Senator Beater, who's out of Macomb. And one of our members had created a bill which deals with first-degree lifers to try to put a cap on that. So when we were talking, we asked him, we invited him to Macomb to address those issues. And one of the things we asked him, would he support this bill? So in supporting it, he said he was leaning toward it, but one of the things he said is his constituents, who is the voters, are in fear of, like I say, being looked at soft on crime. So what I asked him, I said, well, listen, would it help that now that I'm on the way home to humanize this issue, we network, and like I say, just like we're trying to get this message across, and this is the thing, so networking and then bringing it to the public, to the attention of the public, this is the thing, within these communities, east side, west side, and north end, etc., Brightmoor, whatever, in California, whatever, the urban ghettos, urban psychosis. We got to create a tax incentive basis to where businesses want to come in the community, and we have some jobs for these young brothers when we go and tell them.
You're
when
right.
we say, listen, man, put the drugs down, put the guns down, and then we got a job to offer.
But you know what? The thing that I'm understanding from these young men
Yes, sir.
is they tired and they feel like the little minimum wage shit that
Right.
they have, the $7,
Right.
the $9,
Right.
when you compare to this economy.
Right.
And I want your Greg, I want your opinion on this one, because you filtered your way out the shit. Okay, so I want to know
Not really.
how,
Not really, Diddy.
what you do, some misdemeanor.
Well, I got something I can tell you though. I just want to get out to the young people. I hope they're listening. Just like you said, I kind of really, in a way, filter myself out because of something happened though.
Mm.
And I'm saying this because it seems like every time someone wants to do right, it's because of what then happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it could be too late. And what I'm saying is that something happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I grew up. I was in the street, in gangs, doing all kind of thefts, all kind of stuff. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and one day this is what happened to me, and that's why I have to put this out here. I was in a gang fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got stabbed in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I get stabbed in the back, a friend of mine picked me up and carried me to a lot and set me in a lot and went called the ambulance. They came and got me. I was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor came to me and said, I have some good news and I have some bad news.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and I'm laying there, I'm wondering what's going on.
Right.
He told me what the good news is. He said, the bad news is that you was a pinch away from being paralyzed for the rest of your life.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm laying there and I started about to cry.
Mm-hmm.
That opened up my eyes right there and said, look, you need to do something besides the street now.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that was just like saying a person go to the penitentiary, come out. I got to do something different now.
Yeah.
But that right there, to me, woke me up, and it's my right-handed God. I started changing my life around.
Mm-hmm.
I moved, and there was this is still that when you said about the minimum wage with the kids and this kind of stuff. I just want to let you know this. The old saying is this: you got to crawl before you can walk.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And that's what happened with me. After that, the money that was being made at the time, I didn't want to do that because I was out there doing this fast money, right?
Mm-hmm. And
So-
that's what they want today.
Right. So what happened was the buses was on strike. There was a trade school that I was going to. So I took the trade school. I was driving from, I don't know if you're familiar, but it was like from Jefferson to 8 Mile and Hoover, where the trade school was. The bus on strike. I walked, I jogged, I jogged to that. I was making just $90 a week. That's all I was getting for that. But I had to do that to make a change in my life. So to everyone, I just want to say, you have to start somewhere.
Yes, you do.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to say to the people that's out there. You got to start somewhere.
And you got to believe in yourself.
Right.
That's true. You got to believe in
You got to
yourself.
believe in
Crawl
yourself.
before you walk.
That's
Crawl
right.
before you walk.
Let me add something to that. Knowing him my entire life and watching him, and I've never said this to him privately, and I'm going to say it publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, I don't think you know how much you meant to pretty much all of the young guys up under you that's from our neighborhood. I really don't think you know. Greg was the first person that I saw
Mm-hmm.
that was willing to work.
Right. Yeah.
He's the first person in my life
Mm-hmm.
that I met.
They was going to hold the job.
No, forget hold the
Just
job.
getting the job.
That was willing to work
On a job.
on a job.
Oh, okay.
And no matter what we were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and he watched a lot of us excel to heights and do all types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this man stayed steadfast to what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I can remember his first car was a white and red Camaro.
Well,
That was it.
He
That
kept
was
that
it.
car running at tip-top shape.
mm-hmm.
He wasn't worried about the fact that I had went and bought a Benz
Right.
or an Audi or
Mhm.
whatever I was doing.
Mhm.
He would keep his car pristine, put what he wanted in his car. In other words, the difference between he
Right.
and most of us is that he had tunnel vision. He knew where he wanted to go, and we didn't. All that we knew was that we wanted something.
We wanted to chase that
we
life.
We didn't know what.
Right. We just wanted to chase
We
that
just
life.
wanted something.
Right.
And I want to be guilty of saying that to him publicly to let him know that you really mean a whole lot to the people that were around you when we were kids. And the way that you have stood by Sha-Teak, who I call Greasy Lips, the way that you stood by him for 30 plus years is a testament to who you are as a man. And you know, over the years, I mean, we've traveled the world together. He's took care of me, my children, and he's a different kind of brother from where we come from.
Oh, so the kids call you Uncle Greg.
Absolutely. I mean, he was head of security for our record company.
Okay.
And it wasn't about no money. It was just about, I can trust him with these little girls.
That's true.
And I know I can.
Right.
And if I may, I want to I would like to echo what he's saying, because this brother, not only did he work, he's retired. You know, like when we were young, me, him, Glenn, I had that, like you say, he came turned off from school, turned on the street. This is one of the men used to tell me, man, come on, do this, go, come on, but I didn't listen. And he stuck with me 37 years. So, and with that question you started off, asked about how do we tell the youth. So I like to make a challenge to you and Glenn and just the public and anybody that's listening. It's men like this, we got to show them. We show them my story too, to which where you end up, the moral of it, this is where you end up. And also show them, Greg, we need to set up mentoring camps to, like I say, and go out and show these young men and talk to them and give them somewhere to go. And like I said, that tax incentive basis to create something, man, for them, whether it's minimum, and show them that if either you work for minimum wage or you go there and work for 15 cents an hour.
Yeah,
right.
But see, here's the thing.
You go to prison rather than work
Here's
for
the
15 cents an hour.
that we didn't understand,
Right.
and he did.
Right.
See, here's the difference.
Right.
We were looking at the fact that minimum wage wasn't good enough.
Right.
We want them gators.
Right, and you wasn't gonna get it on
Right.
minimum wage.
What the pay was.
Right.
Because it wasn't about the money. It was about doing something repetitiously and being able to retire.
Right. Now he got everything, and the guys that did what I did, like I said, he just by the grace of God, are just getting out of prison or dead.
Absolutely.
In the graveyard. Right.
Okay, let me just say this too, though. I think that was all in the hands of God, though, when that happened, though, because of the fact that, like the doctor said, I could have been paralyzed for the rest of my life, and I think He made it where I wasn't paralyzed for the rest of my life, so I can do something different to show people. Right. That's what I believe in. Right. He did that because I think if I hadn't got stabbed in the back, I might have ended up in penitentiary or dead because I'd have kept going. I just would have kept going. But that right there turned my whole life around. I think God did that for me. He made that happen.
Well, everything is through the grace.
Right, He made that happen,
But
and then from that point on, I just
But see, when you
took
become
off.
a man rather than a male, you're able to identify these things. And would I change anything in my life? No, I wouldn't. Because I realized that everything that I've been through is what made me who I am today. Had I not gone through those things, I wouldn't know who I am today. So it's not that I think that any of us would change it, but we know that we have an obligation to try to help somebody else. We do have an obligation. If it's nothing more than you don't want to see this young brother do 37 years. Or you don't want to see this young brother laid up at Swanson's
Right.
just because he's
Right.
chasing that
Right.
ghost.
That
Because
Right,
that's what
that
it is.
dream.
It's a ghost.
Right.
It
Right.
ain't even a dream. It's a
Right.
ghost.
Right.
But they think it's a dream.
Yeah,
Right.
but see, here's the thing.
It's a nightmare.
It doesn't,
Ain't
it
it?
doesn't exist.
Right.
Right.
The lifestyle that myself and Sha-Teak and other brothers that are out here in these streets think that it's really a life.
Mm.
It's not a life. I liken it, and I like to call it the man behind the curtain.
Mm.
It's like in our life, in street life, it's always some dude behind the curtain that wants to trick everybody.
Right. Like
Right.
the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
okay, well, I'm gonna tell you a story, Sha-Teak, that helped to wake me up.
Right.
I thought I was this and that and all of this, and I had a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And my first trip to California, I met some young dudes, like 19 years old,
Right.
that made me look like a joke.
Right.
And I said, man,
Right.
I'm doing wrong. They doing wrong. They got testosterone.
Right.
And I gotta be something.
Ain't add nothing in this
Right.
equation. Right.
That's when I understood that I was just a small part of a big problem.
Right.
That's
and
right.
see, we think that because we get a few dollars, we got a few women,
Right.
we got people screaming our name,
Right.
Right.
that we have arrived.
Right.
But man, I'm here to tell you, man, a retarded person
Huh.
could do what we was doing.
Right.
Exactly.
A
Right.
retarded person.
Right.
So, you know, but Sha-Teak, enough about us as a
Yes, sir.
group.
Right.
Let's celebrate the fact that you're
Right.
home.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate the fact that he's home, Glenn. We also going to give up the artist of the week. Who we got this week, Glenn?
We have Charles Gator Moore out of Detroit. We're gonna get into some of him, but you guys stay tuned because Sha-Teak's gonna be here the whole show, and I want to give him an opportunity to speak not only to what he's been through, but what he's put other people through.
Exactly. And give us a call, 248-429-7224. And if you got some questions after the song, give us a call, 248-429-7224 with your man, the one and only Mr. Sam 44 Man. And you are tuned in to Detroit Raw Live.
Yeah. You off?
Is we all?
Oh no.
Okay, we good.
Yeah, I like this, man.
It
This
is.
is beautiful. I like this.
Now, what the hell did I do with this mic?
Tow it up right on the air.
I'm like, oh my God, oh man, fuck this mic.
Yeah, I like this, bro. I like this. I like this.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Glenn, okay, like I would tell you. Now you remember that one incident, man. I was, you know, went down to South.
Save it for the show, man.
What? No, I'm telling you.
No,
remember-
save it for the show.
No, I want to talk about
Right.
the one with, remember your girl, man, I was down Mississippi for over a year, man, high, because I was going to go to
yeah.
penitentiary that time.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I was going to be gone,
I forgot
man.
about that.
Right.
Shit, that's what I say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit I
Yeah.
did, man. That I escaped shit, man.
so how you feel, man?
Going to
Man, I feel
penitentiary,
good.
man.
I like
just,
this. For the last
just
25
escaped
years,
this
I've
shit,
been.
man.
I dreamed
Crazy.
about doing this, man.
But you know what? This is what I did 30 years ago. I made a commitment that I wanted to help my brothers that was in the penitentiary, that was coming out of the penitentiary, because it took me a long fucking time to get to this point. You know what I'm saying? It took me a long fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And I had to figure out how life is, how to adapt to this new life. Shit has changed. When you went to the penitentiary, gayness was illegal. Not gayness is
You got
revenant.
a powerful block.
You got a right. It's just so much out here that for me not to have to work for nobody and to say what I am able to say out here
wow, you didn't like him
is
too
a
much.
powerful tool.
So, like you said, man, so it's just like
I did what
preach to the
style
choir. I can say some elegant stuff, but if we can't offer these young guys something, man, in place of it, be like, because this, like, if this is what, and I want you to ask me this because I like to say this also, man.
Okay.
No Emerson.
If 30 years
Oh,
ago,
girl,
37 years ago,
That's
was
why
a
I'm
part of
putting
this
it
same
with that game.
dynamic of being turned off the schooling, but turned on the prison. It was more schools then. Now they closing schools down. So what is that dynamic that creates the ghetto, that creates this crime? You know, that when I go to prison, there's jobs in there. It's clean. It's not in here. So what I'm saying, what do we do, men and now, to create something? What do the public do that say we want to stop this? How do we band together and create something, show these young brothers we love them, like they say, alive, not to death, but to make them say, well, they can come to us and we got something to say, look, man, this here to work for this little amount. Not only, let's take them into the prisons. Let's show them, let's talk to
Man,
them.
if they would let me, for being a producer,
Right.
go into the penitentiary, man, I could have a hell of a show.
People, man, that we can talk to, that we can like.
Well, let's see if we can do something so I can get in. I ain't had no felony in 30 years.
Okay.
Ain't no felony in
Right.
30
Yeah,
years.
we can
And I
talk-
can't
we
go
can
in
do
here and
that.
expose
We
these
can do
brothers
that.
for what they are.
We can do that, man.
Because they sober,
Right.
they got their shit
Right.
together now.
Right. We can do
Give
that.
them a chance to do
We
something.
can do that.
Yeah, you want some restitution, goddamn it, give them a chance to make
We
it.
gotta try. We can do it.
What's up? What's up? Your man, the one and only Mr. Sand 44 man. You just heard my man Glenn. Who was that again?
That was Charles Gator Moore.
Charles Gator Moore. And I'm sitting here with my man Sha-Teak, Money, and Mr. Greg. And we're sitting back talking about things that that's really going on out here in this world. I know that this is not like the normal show. Everybody wants to spend Mr. Sand 44 man's money and all that. But this is more of a more serious issue in which we need to address our community. I can give y'all money anytime. I'm on here every week.
I want you to give me some right now.
But if you do, and be maybe say my first caller, since it's 20 minutes till the hour I'm off the air, 248-429-7224. And if you have a question for my guest today, Sha-Teak, Amani, and Brother Greg Kelly, just give us a call, 248-429-7224 and 313-516-1990. I was looking at this thing that we got here, your memoir.
You good.
Okay. It says, triple stages of darkness, deaf and dumb and blind, still I rise, is the true life story of an African-American child birth named Timothy Kincaid. Changed his name to Sha-Teak Amani when he went through a Jesus, Joseph, and Malcolm X metaphors. Tell us about that.
Right. Well, this metamorphosis.
A metamorphosis.
Right.
Yeah.
That is, like I say again, triple stage dark, deaf, and blind. When I went to prison and coming from, like Lynn asked the question, you want to talk about also who I hurt. So when I went to prison, I was deaf, dumb, and blind. As my older brother used to say, I couldn't read no wrote. I was ignorant. Mm-hmm. And that's part of, like you say, the crime that exists in the community. You know, when people have no hope, they perish, right? So while I was in prison, again, as I said, that opposed to just continue to do wrong and, like I say, blame somebody else or whatnot, I cultivated myself. That's when I went through that. And I used Jesus because Jesus, like you say, did some things, rose on the third day. Malcolm went to prison as a pimp, a player, and whatnot, embedded himself, taught himself, become autodidact, which is self-taught.
Right.
Joseph, in the Quran, is the most beautifulest story. And in the Bible, Joseph went to prison, and while in prison, he taught, he bettered himself. And when I read that story, when I read the story of Joseph, I learned about forgiveness. Mm-hmm. So at first I had to learn how to forgive myself because I was bitter. I felt like I was nothing. And if I may, it's a word I used to call.
You got a call. Can you hold your thought, Sha-Teak?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You need to turn your radio down over there. You can't be on with us and listening to yourself.
Caller, how you doing? This is Mr. Sam 44 Man, and you're tuned in to Detroit Raw Live. Who is this?
Hello?
Who am I speaking with?
We must have lost. Call back. When you call
Yeah,
back,
give us a call, caller.
you need to turn your radio down because we're getting a lot of feedback. Okay.
Out of the things that 30 years ago,
Right.
and you probably was in there 7 years already. When I
Right.
said 30 years.
Right.
How is the lifestyle now from compared to? Because I can't imagine, man, what you had to go through with all these young cats coming through there. How did you look at it from us, as you know, me and you and him? I mean, you know, us our age, to now transforming into these young cats.
Again, what we see now in the community now, the young guys now that, like you say, it's not they're not afraid of death. It's the living that's killing them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was them 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was them 30 years ago. So prison then when I went was kill or be killed, eat or be eaten. And so, there's only a few prisons, Jackson, which was the world's largest prison.
Right.
And I also like to keep reiterating this. What I'm talking about is no way, shape, form, or fashion glorifying this. My life now is dedicated to hopefully preventing some other child, or,
Right.
Some other youth or somebody else from ending up in the same position I would. So the difference is that, like you say, prison, there's no basically rehabilitation. You got to rehabilitate yourself.
And that's the thing that I want to ask you too.
Right.
When I got out of prison, I didn't have shit to go to.
Right.
I mean, okay, I'm out of prison. I just did 5 years.
Right.
Okay, how do I adjust to society?
Right.
How do I get a job? How do I, I got into the programs, Peter Claver and all these different programs that they had. But what I learned is they didn't want you to tell them about your past.
Right.
Now I'm going to tell you how I did this with Olympia Entertainment,
Right.
Joe Louis Arena, Red Wings or whatever.
Right.
They said, don't let them know that you've been in prison.
Them like in.
Then you're employed.
Okay. Right.
And just do you.
Right.
I held their money,
Right.
thousands of dollars,
Right.
transferred it all around the arena.
Right.
I raised up in the rankings,
Right.
came up to the man in the Olympia club.
Right.
Soon as they found out
Right.
that the scenario was I came to work because I was working 2 jobs. I worked the night for Joe Louis
Right.
and the Red Wings.
Right.
And then the next morning I come in and do the cleanup.
Right.
But by me being in this exclusive club, there was no reason for me to be in there.
Right.
But an incident had happened the night prior. So I was going to clean it up after I finished my regular job. But of course I'm going to get paid. And I punched in. But then when I punched in, they looked at it as time card fraud.
Right.
I said, time card fraud? I came from one job. And I knew I had to get another job done before the next game.
Right.
So I thought I should be paid. Did you think I should have did it for free?
You was trying to be all you could be.
But then they said, well, now we didn't have to bring up your record.
Right.
Now we found out you was a criminal.
Right.
We found out you done been in
Scarlet
prison.
letter.
You never told us this.
Right.
I said I held thousands of dollars of your money.
Right.
I've been employed with you 4 years.
Right.
I never crossed you.
Right.
But you let something in my past
Right.
stop me from continuing to raise up in the rankings?
Right.
There's nothing we can do.
Right.
You lied on your application.
Right. That's a miracle.
And it's automatic termination.
Yeah, see, that's a part of America.
Right.
Yeah.
And, we can go back and forth about that all day, but that's just like going back and forth about racism,
Right.
sexism,
Right.
politics. That is a part of the fabric
Right.
of America. That is when we populate the prisons, then they understand that, you know what, when we get them in the population
Right.
and we finally decide to let them go, we still have them in prison.
Right.
So, I mean, we could go on and about that, but I think that's another
Right.
topic for another
Yes,
show.
sir.
What I want to ask you, Sha-Teak,
Yes,
is
sir.
if you had the opportunity to speak to your victims, what would you say to them if you had that opportunity?
Like I would like to apologize. First of all, apologize to them, and I want them and the listening public to understand that by no way am I glorifying what I went through, because like I said, not only did I hurt them, and like I said, I was the youngest one of all of that incident. Not only did I hurt them, I hurt society, I hurt my family, hurt their families. So, and that's like you say, first step to sobriety is admitting, so that apologizing, you know, and not only that, now my life and through prison doing the right thing is also dedicated to, like you say, victims of violence or crime. I also graduated from a restorative justice class, which is part of University of Dearborn. I graduated from, they have an Inside Out program, you know, University of Dearborn. It's a sociology class. I graduated from that. So come back to the restorative justice is to restore the community. So when you harm the community, the objective is to come together and mediate, like they say, show the victims, like they say, how can we repair what we've done, what I've done. So that goes back to, like you say, to I'm working on that with the program to trying to get that established, so we can do some bridging that gap through the victims and heal the victims. Restorative justice opposed to retributive justice, which America is founded on. They want to punish you, beat you down, etc. But you're not addressing the pain of the victims, the pain that I caused. So this is what I want to do, and then the victim has the opportunity to tell us how we affected them and what can we do to help them. Because like it says, it's not just about me, it's the restorative justice, restoring the community. So that's what I would like to say. I apologize, man.
Do you, or did you, I should say,
Very well said.
did you have any problems when you got out from, like, the victims' families in protest of you getting out?
No, sir. No, sir, I didn't.
In fact, you had support from some of the victims to
Right.
get out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did. One of my victims, you know, because that's why I use that, like they say, I titled one of my chapters in my book, Bronx Tales, because it said art imitating. Like, one of my victims supported my release because she was aware that, like I said, as a young guy, you know, I wasn't a primary principal, you know, person to harm anybody. She came forward and helped me out and spoke at my parole board hearing, and also spoke when I was eligible to go back to court for resentencing. So she is indicative, like you say, the epitome of forgiveness. And like you said, they punish you when you got out. So we need to address that, meaning forgiveness. Everybody needs some forgiveness. It says in the Bible, he is not sin, cast the first stone. So I was a sinner, young sinner, but like you say, what exists, we talk about going back to their community. If we don't heal the community and talk about why the crime exists, why these young men act like that, as Glenn said, we can go on like racing and keep talking about bam, 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 the problem, how do we heal it? And this is what I'm saying, I'm coming with a solution. I don't have all the answers, but us networking together, creating a tax-based incentive to create some sort of jobs and things of that nature. Also with the victims, we can do something about that.
Even if you do get it with the jobs and get the inmates to get into the job market, how do you get the employers that's paranoid as fuck, that don't really trust you, to trust you after all this time?
But see, that's a myth.
Right.
That's a myth. That's not the truth. You need to understand something about America. Most of the companies that operate in America have criminals sitting at the head of the company.
Well, I'm sure they do.
So it's not about the criminality of it. It's just a tool that they use to keep a certain people at a certain level. You can't be fooled by that. Some of the look at Donald Trump. He's in the White House.
Mm-hmm.
He's been convicted of crimes. People don't even realize that. This man has been convicted of crimes.
And they get glorified for it.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, what Glenn was saying is true, but I'm going to just tell you like this. One of the biggest, everyone knows the biggest corporation there is in America really is based the auto industry, right? Everybody
Exactly.
knows that, okay?
Right.
Now, and I work for the auto industry, for General Motors. Now, and just like Glenn said, that's just a myth because of the fact that, I'm going to tell you, it's guys that when I was there working, seriously, in there, been in prison. Matter of fact, it's guys that went to prison while they was there and came back and got the job back.
Damn.
So I'm just telling you, don't listen to the.
It ain't what you know.
That's right. So they got the job back. So that's just a myth, like Glenn said. You know what I mean? It's, you know, anytime my point is this: anytime that happens, To me, I look at it like that's just something that they want to do. They just don't want to hire nobody, so they use that.
And they started using more prevalent
I
now.
know. That's
Even if you got a fucking
they just don't want to hire you. That's all. It is.
Right, but you're right. The public is in fear, man.
That's
It's
all
like
it is.
the people fear that, man, because sometimes people don't know. Just like myself, people don't know. Am I coming back out here to re-victimize the community and to hear what I was convicted of? So the things of putting this in perspective. I was a child. I was 16. I was with some old gangsters and some pimps and players, drug kingpins. But I was a child. I received more time than anybody. But I still take full responsibility for my errors and shortcomings.
But I think that you should elaborate more on the fact that you were a child, because you kind of ran over that kind of fast.
Right.
And I want the public to understand how much of a child you were.
Right.
Okay, you were 16. Did
Right.
you get a speeding trial, or did they take you through the 2-year process to make sure that you were grown?
No.
So they could give you a grown number.
Right.
Because of what happened.
Right. No. What happened with me? Like you said, they got it's called a verificated hearing that's supposed to happen. You're supposed to have adjudicated in a judicial hearing when you go to get waiver. But I never really had that. So because I had corrupt lawyers, one of my lawyers that I had when I was a juvenile, he was basically working with the prosecutor. So when I was supposed to have a waiver hearing,
Wait a minute, when you say working with the prosecutor,
I'm getting ready to explain it to you. I was supposed to have a waiver hearing, which is to determine whether I should be sentenced as an adult or tried as an adult.
Okay.
But the attorney who I've never met, which his name, I'm going to say his name, Horace Stone, may rest in peace, said that passed away. He told me, had never seen me or my mother. If I come in the bullpen and say, how you doing, Mr. Kincaid, you looking good, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go in here, we're going to waive that hearing. Don't worry about a thing. I've talked to your mother. Oh, you're looking good. Don't worry about it. Let's go. And I had never seen him, man. I was just expedited back from California.
Okay.
So now, I was ill-advised. So when I get in the courtroom, my mother's sitting on the other side. She said, what you going? Well, the lawyer said, so I followed the instruction. Now, let's go back. This is what this law that just was passed. It talked about, based on the newer biological and scientific evidence, when you're a child, you cannot even determine or help with your defense, and you're also vulnerable for manipulation from older men, etc. But okay, so by me not having this waiver hearing, there's a possibility that the whole case could have been sorted out as far as my lack of participation as a child, etc., and what happened. But I was misled. So by then I was misled and bound over to be tried as an adult. Then when I get to adult court, I had another attorney who ill-advised me. So I didn't know. My mother didn't know. We didn't have any money. So, these are some of the things that
Preach, brother. I know what you're talking about.
These are some of the things that we face here. Like you said, young guy, even though, like, this is what we're talking about now. So young guys is out there indulging in crime. Then when you go to get caught up in the judicial system, you can't read nor write. Then you're talking to attorneys and prosecutors who are making deals, and you don't know any other language, and you end up in prison. So these are the things, like I said, coming back to all of this, man. This interview would be in vain if we don't come up with some solutions as far as me as a vessel coming out, man, to say, putting something in place so what I've went through to continue to happen.
But I'd say this all the time. But if we got brothers out there that's scared, yellow to come up and protest in front of these areas and police around them, and oh shit, Sam, man, I got a warrant. I mean, what do we do?
It's maybe not to protest so much as, like you say, it's maybe even,
or even just making amendments.
Dialogue, meaning this, in other words, community meetings, to the point of one of the things I want to address the block clubs. Starting at the block clubs, speaking at the churches, at the mosques, to the point of us coming together and talking about these issues. We holding these symposiums and addressing this, because if we don't address it, we can't, like you say, come up with any solution. This is our community. These are our communities. These are our children. Nobody cares about black children, man. These black boys. So, and I was one. So one of the things, like when I was a child, man, Glenn can attest this. For lack of knowledge and lack of money, one time I went out and stole some hubcaps for his, to sell to somebody to get some money. But that's how the lack of knowledge that I had. So when you don't have money, you don't have food to eat. I don't care what you talk about, what nobody else talk about. You got young guys, like you say, that's carrying AK-47. They're not afraid of dying. The living that's killing them. So it don't matter what we talk about.
Ain't that
Man. If
something?
we don't figure out some way to address that, then this interview is an exercise of brutality.
Greg, how do we reach out to the community? I mean, we got the churches, we got the mosques, we got the synagogues, we got everything. Why aren't we making a connection?
Well, for me being out in the street a lot on a daily basis, with the organization, we see a lot happening. And I'm gonna just be straight out with you. It starts at home first. It's like now if you say anything to them, the parent want to choke you, kill you, whatever, and that's a problem. That's a problem. An incident that just happened, which is a young fella just got,
Well, let me help you out. What he talking about is the situation that's going on in our community. Mother kills her 8-month-old. Mother, 31, kills her 1-year-old in Southwest Detroit. Boy pushes his mama out of her $1 million home. Dig that. Were they having problems?
Right.
3 black men caught on camera out here carjacking. 2 caddies, 1 Lincoln. Ain't even yours. Young man on the ATV gets shot on grass shit. Rossini. I seen that guy.
Now I want.
You see?
That's what I want to speak on that right there. That's right in my
You know?
neighborhood.
Right.
But the whole thing is about this, and I know those people.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because
not
I used
all
to
of
see
them,
him.
Not all of them, but I know
I'm
some of the
that
family
way.
members, right?
Yeah.
And they had they had a big kind of like visual the other night, right?
Yeah,
Last
right.
night, matter of
Right.
fact. And the whole thing about that was on the news. They were showing how kids, I'm talking kids, man, with adults out there with them, the kids acting like they lost their mind.
Yeah.
These are kids,
Yeah.
and the parents are right there. Are you serious?
Serious,
What
correct.
you do is say, look, you get your butt over here and you stand right here.
Mm-hmm.
See, but that's why I said.
But see, they don't want that discipline.
Right.
They don't want that. Oh, my friends, you've been embarrassing me. But then when they get up
Right.
in your household,
That's
then them white folks
That's
tell you
the
what you gonna
issue
do.
that's going
You
on
ain't
right
gonna
now.
negotiate because it's non-negotiable.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Here's the thing, man, with that. When we were coming up, we were ashamed to let the elders see us in criminal
Do
activity.
anything wrong.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
ain't lying. You
It's
ain't
no-
lying.
I mean, it's and Greg knows this. If I would see his mother coming out the grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working the corner, or me, my boys, whatever we was doing,
Stop it.
had to stop.
Mm-hmm. You
And
right.
That was respect for him and his mother.
You're right.
And we just, and listen, man, I'm gonna just put this out here for real. We was real gangsters, for real. Not what you see out here now.
Right. These
Yeah,
cotton
that's
candies
okay.
for real. Right.
We was for real what we claimed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But we had enough about us to understand that was our community.
Mm-hmm.
We understood that.
Mm-hmm.
And we all still love that neighborhood to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I haven't been there in 40 years in terms of having to live in that area.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I
You see
have,
it drop through.
Well, he been through it. He
I
been
have to go. Listen, man. When I came through,
Mm-hmm.
people don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to my neighborhood. and
Yeah, I'm in the hood.
I sit in my car,
Right.
and I can collect myself.
Mm-hmm. Humble beginnings.
But the difference between the youth of today
Mm-hmm.
is that it's no way that they could respect his mother coming out the grocery store when they don't respect their own mother.
My man.
See, that can't be done.
Can't be.
And when your mother or your father, when your father is 50 plus years old and his pants is sagging and his hat is on backwards and he wants to walk with you and your boys, see this, we got to take some responsibility in how these children are coming out, man.
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
See,
Yeah.
I was a criminal for more than half of my life.
Mm-hmm.
My mother never sanctioned my activities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
She never sanctioned my activities. The difference is now you will find a father and a son going to do an armed robbery together.
Ain't that some shit?
True. See, but I mean, I'm just gonna show you, man.
Right.
And I'm not trying to brag on us.
Right, but you
none
didn't
of us are
wonder.
perfect.
Right.
But my son, my eldest son, yesterday met Sha-Teak's two boys.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mhm.
All they knew was that's my daddy's man. They come up together.
Mhm.
They family.
Mhm.
That's the only thing they knew.
Right.
Now, his youngest boy, I saw when he came into the world.
Mm-hmm.
His oldest boy, I only spent time with him when he was 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They came in here with respect.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel the respect.
Mm-hmm.
This man has been gone for 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
And his boys and their mother were standing there when he walked out the door.
How did it make you feel?
Oh man.
You see your family, you about to go to the crib.
First, I'd like to say this here, man. I apologize to my family, my boys, man. You know, because I left them. But to come home, you know, and to still have them in my life and love me, it's like surreal, man. Because you wonder how, you know, because they went through. They are victims of my ignorance, you know. But that's my support now. And that's something that the guy have to have. So I feel, man, I'm very proud.
But don't they? I mean, right now you're in euphoria.
Right.
Do you think that this is the best time, or not the best time, to talk to your sons and your family, your kids about all those years?
That's what we do because, like I say, being in prison, you know, my boys growed up out west, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we were basically talking on the phone. All my life, I've done everything I can to prevent them from ending up like me once I become conscious. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and every time you're trying to talk, you know, this new system they got with Global Tel Inc., my voice is my password, the operators intervening saying you got 4 minutes, you got 3 minutes. So trying to be a parent from afar, I did the best I can, sending literature. So now we catch up on and talk about everything, you know, you know, and again, like you say, my absenteeism, they were raised by, like, what was that song, Colored Than Father, by some others, you know, in the streets, etc. But they turn out to be outstanding men. And so we talk about everything now, you know, and that's something, just like Glenn said, you have fathers doing things wrong. So, man, I'm at awe by them. They are my heroes.
I mean, you know, man, it was so remarkable, man. I can't even put into words what we have between one another. I don't even know the words to use. But my son and his sons went to acting like they have been knowing each other since they came here. Right off the rip.
Oh, okay.
And
like we used to be at one
to
time.
me, that's a testament of how important it is for you to be a father to your son. See, you can't, just because you make a baby, man, don't make you a father.
Right.
Being a father, this man's been gone all this time, but he steady stayed in their ear by any means he had to use, whether it be through letters or the phone, or visits, or through grade, or however. But it was important enough to him so that his kid, because you got, man, listen, man, you got dudes in the penitentiary, man, they got their sons up there with them. And guess what? It's all good.
And you know what? That used to kill me. I used to see guys that was doing time and be like, oh shit, my son here. And I'd be like, are you proud of this shit?
Yeah.
Your son here? You doing life and now your son doing life? And that's the way it was.
But that's the reality, man. That's the reality of our community. You know that, you know, prison sometimes is a rites of passage, a badge of honor. You know, so it's been flipped around. So this is why I want to constantly reiterate what I'm talking about. It's not a glorification. Is it? Got to take that out of there, man.
And see, and that's what I have to do too. I stuck a white man in the meat freezer with no clothes on, and I served 5 years for that. I don't glorify it, but the thing I just I wanted you just to chill. That's all. But unless they get burnt, I wanted him to get freezer burn all over. But it was just You know, it just you.
Oh my
It's just what you've
Right.
I
done.
didn't say that.
You don't forget about.
Right.
I learned
Right.
you cannot stick a
Right.
white man in the
Right.
meat freezer with
Right.
no clothes
Right.
on
Right.
and deal
Right.
with it.
Right.
Well, you
taught you
can't
that.
stick no man in
Right.
the freezer.
Well, if
Right.
it was a brother, I think I'd have got less than
Right.
that.
Right.
Maybe 6
Right.
months.
Yeah.
But it was a white man with no
Probation.
clothes.
Right.
Oh, probation.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
But it taught me. Understand, I had never been a juvenile
Right.
ever
Right.
in my life. I
First
was six-
offense.
First offense.
Right.
I was 16 years old.
Right.
They waited 2 years.
That way you ain't gonna.
Now let's take his ass to court.
Yeah.
Take him to, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm on the court with that right now
Right.
Yeah, but you-
because I need an expungement.
Right.
You were
Right.
fortunate when they let you wait 2 years because see what we have never addressed this. You know, as a juvenile, when I would go to the youth home for a crime, do you know that the boys in the youth home, man, would actually feel like they were tougher because they were getting waived? We didn't really understand what being wavered meant. We just thought it made us look tougher. Well, what it really was them people, man, trying to send us to the penitentiary for the rest of our lives.
Exactly.
So, with Brother Sha-Teak coming out here, man, and wanting to educate the public, not just our people, but the public at large, that we have to take what he's saying, man. We have to take the coolness out of being incarcerated. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got songs, man, now that glorify the fact that you went to the joint.
How long you been out?
Oh, I got out the 29th.
The 29th.
Yeah.
Have you seen or got a chance to go on the streets and see these fools walking around with the sandals with the socks? The flip-flops with the socks?
I haven't seen it
Yeah,
yet,
that's a
but
new
I- but I-
penitentiary style
Right,
that I
right,
hate.
right.
These guys walk
Right,
around, even the
right,
females, they
right.
walk around with these flip-flops with the
Right.
socks. And I'd be like,
Right.
do you really understand where that stigmatization come
Right,
from?
right.
You know, and they be proud of it.
Right.
Even my son,
Right.
they walking around with the flip-flops with the socks, and I'm like,
Right, right.
if you want some sandals, get some sandals. If you want enclosed sandals, get enclosed sandals. Why do all of y'all have to be on this mentality that we got to wear the flip-flops, whether they Nike or not, they flip-flops?
Well, I mean, Sam, man, that's kind of stereotypical of you, though.
No, it's not, because that's what they do.
Well, but
Where did it come from, Glenn?
well, that's just like saying y'all wore glass heels. Well, guess what? Some people in our neighborhood that was older than us couldn't understand why we was breaking the law to get money to go buy shoes that we couldn't afford. That's what kids do. You know. It's,
But the projection of what it's doing
yeah, but
is
but
what
see,
I'm saying.
no,
What
but
it shows.
No, I got to give you something before we get off of here, so you can stop this shit.
Okay.
What a man puts on outwardly has nothing to do with what the man is inwardly.
I understand.
White folks have made us believe that if we look a certain way, they have the right to kill us for it. We got little boys, man, being killed because they had on a hoodie.
Yeah.
But you go down to Tiger Stadium or Ford Field, and guess what? White boys got on Lions hoodies, and ain't
Don't
nobody
have a
threatening.
problem. Right.
So I just don't want on vet radio to be
Right.
given the impression that because a person dress a certain way or wear his hair a certain way, that we have the right to label him as something that he may not be.
And that's what I'm saying. It just depicts an image. That's what basically I'm saying.
Right.
It depicts like
It does.
you may not have been in the penitentiary, but you got that mentality. And I know you've seen them in the
Right.
penitentiary walk around like that. Where'd it come from?
Let me say this here. Just like you said, when you came home, they said don't say nothing, and then when they found out you were ex-con, they fired you. Stereotype. So now, just like me, I'm coming out like the flyer I gave you is first day out, my reacclimation back into society, and I'm telling the world, and not again glorified, but where I came from, what my story is, and like they say, how to heal others. So we got to be able to address that from legislative block, lesbian block clubs, senators, etc. about criminals, because prison in the ghettos is mixed and mass. That's what sociology is about. It's about power, privilege, and indifference. So the conditions that exist create, you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to address that for the stereotypes from jobs when you come out. So it's like when I was in prison, some staff used to say, your job security. So now listen, excuse me for, you know, I'm just being truthful.
Keep it real.
When I sold drugs, you know, I thought that was, you know, by a means to earn some living. But when I did that, I didn't go to nobody and say, like, I wasn't conscious. And I didn't say, hey, my brother, let me talk to you. Listen, you don't need this. I want to talk to you. This is the best way. Because it was economics. So for economical reasons, I did that. But now I become conscious. I know not to do that. So it's like Department of Corrections, like you say, that's economics. So nobody's going to teach you, and like you say, coming prevent you from having a job. If you go commit another crime, bing, you go back, ching ching. That's economics. You know. So this is where we got to be able to take that, you know, the economic factor out of it and address that.
I want to give you an example.
Right.
I want to give the world an example because I think that it's important, and I don't mean to harp on that, but I think that this stereotypical mindset that we have as black people is harming us. Sha-Teak just came home, right? He called me and said, hey bro, I'm on my way home. Now what if my mindset had been, man, this nigga been gone 37 years, man, I don't want to be bothered with him. Right. Not knowing that this brother has become conscious. Not knowing that this brother has educated himself. Not that any of that would matter because he's my man. But this is just how the general public thinks. The fact that he's been incarcerated for 37 years tells a lot of people he ain't no good.
And they won't give you a chance.
Well, forget whether they'll give him a chance or not. I'm telling you about stereotypes. People would say, just because this man has paid his debt to society, they don't know what he was doing to educate himself, to apologize to his victim, to try to be a father to his children for however many years he got left in his life. They won't even give you the opportunity only because what they think. It ain't what they know, and that is stereotyping. And we got to get rid of that.
What did you, I'm going to tell you, out of your 30-some years, right now, being out, because I studied law, I've sued 7, 8 corporations under the law, because I knew that's what America operates. But the thing is, when you were in there, what did you learn that you feel like can make you prosper, excel, or be better out here now than you was then?
Again, education is equalized. We're the equalizer, you know, and, you know, despite they didn't have, you know, by me having life, they said I couldn't participate in any rehabilitative programs. But
ain't that something?
Right. So again, it's economics, man. You know, so when you condemn a man to die in prison, you know, you're written off. So I was on death row, you know, basically. So, but what I did is that, you know, like I said, when I said that Joseph Jesus and Malcolm X metamorphosis, once I learned that I was somebody, that I wasn't just, excuse my language, a nigga, that I wasn't just, I just, you know, this throwaway that they told me I was. So I decided that no matter what, I was going to better myself and I was going to make a difference because I learned through God that I had a purpose in life. And my purpose, and even with a life bit, I sought out, that's why I learned about the story of Joseph, about forgiveness, and I forgave myself, and I started learning to forgive people. So I said I was going to help others, even though I was in a position I couldn't help myself. But I did that. So I learned, I studied, I got my GED, I wrote in any program that lifer could, but I read every book, all the little money I got, I ordered books, and I read. And I wrote people asking me to give me books, and I read books to other people. I also studied law because I constantly challenged my case because I didn't have any money, you know, even though I, like I said, didn't win it until years later. But knowledge, man, is power, man, you know, and that's one of the things, just like you say, stereotypes, sociology is about power, privilege. I took a class from the University of Dearborn. It's a sociology class. But it's that knowledge, man. Once that opened up a whole new crevice in my mind to the point of seeing, knowing, understanding that despite having 3 first-degree lives, 3 natural lives in the 60, 90, I can be something right from here. I can, like you say, like chess, I can take and read something, and I can excel over these walls. That's why that program is called Prison Doing the Right Thing. You can be a prisoner in your own mind, locked up in society.
In this room.
Right. You know, so it's the knowledge, you know, but you learning, you know, knowing what to do with it.
Well, this is what I want to, this isn't my show, and
Yes,
I don't
sir.
want to make it seem like it is. I
Yes,
don't want to take over, but this is my network.
Yes, sir.
And I want to let you know that whatever we can do, event radio
Right.
and street noise entertainment,
Right.
to help you with your program,
Yes, sir.
And Detroit Ross Show Live.
Right.
that we're willing to do.
Right.
If you want to come on and do a show once a week
Right,
or
right.
once a month,
I love
Holler at
that.
us.
I
holler
love
at us.
that.
If you want to host your own
Right,
show,
right.
whatever you want to do, man, I'm here for
Right,
you.
right.
We're
Appreciate
here
that.
for you.
Right.
Because you have a platform that's needed,
Yes,
and
sir.
we don't need it from some dude that's sitting up in Lansing who really don't give a damn
Right,
about our
right,
people.
right, right,
We need it from someone that has lived it
Right.
and experienced
right,
it,
right,
and it will be honest with them
Right.
and tell them
Right.
the truth
Right.
about
right,
what is going on.
right, right.
We need
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
And
And
appreciate
especially what we need for people when they're getting out of the penitentiary.
right.
It doesn't matter if you're 30 years or
Right,
5 years.
right, right.
You know what I'm saying? You need some type of plan that can help these
Right,
people to
right.
form and fashion themselves into some type of society
Right.
because only thing they know is that society.
Right,
And if that's all they know,
right.
this shit, they're going to get back out here and do the same thing that got them back
Right.
in there.
And
So,
I
If one thing,
Yes, sir.
you go, Sha-Teak,
Yes, sir.
but the listeners that's listening and watching, if you want to get in touch with Brother Sha-Teak, you can do that through Vent Radio, and you can call us, and we'll put you with him. He's open for speaking engagements for community organizations and wherever.
right.
And he's just getting home, so he doesn't have his office and stuff set up yet, but it's coming. But until then, you can contact ventradio.net. Our business number is 218-506-8368. And we will get Brother Sha-Teak to speak at your school, your church, your mosque, your synagogue, whatever you would like him to come and do for the community. He's open to do it, and you can do it through us.
And make sure that you all are in tune to what Glenn was just saying, to reiterate the fact that his story is just like many stories of all the gentlemen that's in this room right now. All of us, just about, except for Mr. Greg, Brother Greg.
He ain't nothing.
I mean, we've all been through the struggle,
Right.
but as far as those gates and that atmosphere, we all know what it's about. But a lot of you guys are just good guys trying to be bad guys. We bad guys trying to be good guys. So it's a reverse fashion. We're trying to help you not to be stupid, because the thing is, we
We're
were
former
stupid.
bad guys.
Well, yeah, former bad guys. I mean, not bad guys now. Don't
Right,
take it like
right,
that. But
right.
former bad guys. They're just trying to make a difference to keep you knuckleheads from falling into the walls that our hard-headed
Right,
asses
right,
ran into.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So we didn't really, man, we
I
got
want
to
to
come back.
I appreciate that,
Also,
man. Right.
I want
Thank
to
you.
invite any law enforcement officer that
Right.
may be listening. I got some friends that are retired police officers and some that are active.
Right.
Guys that I've coached the kids with, you know who I'm talking to. We would love to have you join the team,
Yes, sir.
because we would love to be able to have the opposite perspective
Right.
of what's going on in our communities. So don't be ashamed.
Right.
That's right.
Don't be ashamed. Get with us. Brother Sha-Teak is willing to work with
Right.
any and
Yes, sir.
everybody.
Yes, sir.
Because we trying to get the community together. We
Right.
got to.
Right.
You know, just like they getting it together down there in
Right.
Texas.
Right.
Hey, don't matter, like they said, Charlottesville, all that hate, all that craziness that we've been going through, it doesn't matter if you're a Klan member or not. If I got a boat, your white ass is gonna jump on it to save you and your family. Shouts out to my man and them at Street Noise and Rich Mind Entertainment. Labor Day Jam, Sunday, September 4th. It's at the International Institute of the Metropolitan Detroit. That's 111 East Kirby Street, Detroit, Michigan, 48202. It's your man, the one and only Mr. Sand 44 man with my man Glenn, brother Sha-Teak, and also...
Kelly. Yeah, terrible great Kelly.
Oh yeah, Mr. Kelly. I was about to put him out there. And Mr. Kelly, like, look, we ain't gonna forget that man. He ain't have to go to the penitentiary. We all right with you because you know the insight. You gonna keep these guys from going to the penitentiary. That's what we're gonna do. But we want to see you guys come back again anytime. You're more than welcome to come to the show, and we're glad that you are tuned in with us. Everybody out there in Tokyo, Japan. Everybody out there in Spain, Germany, UK, and China, y'all can take the night and get night. Good morning, and I will see you next week. It's your man, the one and only Mr. Sand 44 man. Get back at ya. You do know that you was heard around those countries I just mentioned, right? I don't say that shit for nothing. You was heard around them countries.
I'm ready, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, anytime.
Right, yeah.
Anytime. I mean, Glenn called me today talking about, man, I got my man. Let me hold on.
Right.
Hey, but I just want to say this.
What's up, world? It's your man, Mr. Sand 44 man. Hey, these gentlemen right here, that was a part of my day. Good day in the hood. It's your man, the one and only Mr. Sand 44 man. I'll see y'all next week. We're off the air.
Hey,
So you was on Facebook, YouTube, radio, all that stuff.
I just want to say this, though, man.